Good morning, everybody. I think, given the reality outside, I'm going to start, if it's okay, with an off-topic, just a couple of minutes on the weather, and a couple of minutes in specific about the snow, which began falling last night and has continued throughout this morning. Am I on? Kind of a Wayne Newton moment there. There are about three of us in this room who even know who Wayne Newton is. First, thankfully, given the weather events over the past month and given the devastating flooding in a number of the river basins, especially the Passaic River where I was on Saturday, I'm pleased to report that we're not expecting any additional river flooding as a result of today's weather event, and none of the gauges are showing, never mind major flooding, not even moderate flooding, so let's hope it stays that way. You all know this. The snow began falling late afternoon, early evening, depending on where you were. Most of the state has seen about 2 to 3 inches of snow, with up to 4 to 6 inches in the northwestern part of the state. Local amounts might be higher. Having said that, I just got off with Jill Space in Sussex County. They only hit a couple of inches. So we opened the state offices with a 2-hour delay, and I want to thank the principal, who I will come back to in a moment, for allowing us to do this event, as this school is actually on a delay. The models suggest we could get a couple of more inches of snow across the northern region of the state in particular. My one concern coming over here is freezing rain right now more than snow, so I'd ask everybody to be really careful. And again, that combination could end up with a light glaze of ice, especially around the I-95 corridor. Areas south of I-195 will likely see either an inch or even less of snow throughout the day. For South Jersey, this will likely end up as a rain event as the day goes on. Again, I remind everyone to please remain cautious heading into the evening, especially planning for ice on the roads, and please drive accordingly. A winter weather advisory has been issued for all counties in the central and northern parts of the state until at least 4 o'clock this afternoon. Department of Transportation, under Diane Scacchetti's leadership, is coordinating with NJ Transit and other transportation partners to ensure our roadways are properly plowed and maintained for public transit and motorists on the roads. Just coming in here, I was told we have a jackknife tractor trailer at Jugtown Mountain on I-78, so especially around there, please be careful. And if you're out there driving and you see officials out on the roads, please clear and let them pass safely. The Board of Public Utilities has been engaged with our electric power providers, and both are standing ready for any challenges or outages. Clearly, again, I repeat, if you experience an outage, don't assume somebody else is going to call it in. Please call it in. Again, as I was coming in here, there are less than 700 outages in the entire state right now, so that's basically plus or minus a sunny day, so that's a good number. Our office, our State Emergency Operations Center, is activated to a level 3 as of 6 o'clock last night, and will continue to operating and monitor the storm throughout. If you're looking for information, I'd go to ready.nj.gov, which is the best all-encompassing location, and if you're specific to NJ Transit, that would be njtransit.com. Now, switching to why we're here, but maybe making a bridge, as the speaker knows, and Shama Hainer is there as well, we might not have done this event in a normal Tuesday, but this is not a normal Tuesday. If this bill doesn't get to the legislature by noon today, it dies. So if you're wondering why we went ahead in the teeth of lousy weather, that's the reason. This is the day officially where I have to make a decision and affirmatively or negatively get all these bills, and there are scores of them, back to the legislature by noon, and that's why we decided to go ahead. It's wonderful to be back here at this school. We had a game-changing event here before. It's my favorite school team in the entire state, bar none. So I want to say unequivocally, go Govs. I want to thank Mayor Fred Henry for once again hosting us so graciously. Fred, every time you've answered the bell. Superintendent Dr. Fred Williams, Principal Sean Dunphy, who I met right when I walked in. Where's Sean? Is he getting kids? Yeah, he's dealing with kids. Kids apparently are coming in like right around now. And I thanked him personally as I got in the door for continuing to host us. I also want to thank the entire South Amboy Elementary School community, educators, staff, parents, kids, everybody. Incredibly honored today to be joined by my congressman, the one and only Congressman Frank Pallone. South Amboy's very own, educated in this very school, Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin. I mentioned Shama Hader, a fellow member of the Assembly. Great to have you here, Shama. New Jersey's food security advocate, which is a big deal. Mark Dingleson is with us. You'll hear from Mark. And I want to thank all the Donna Chair here is representing AFT New Jersey. Donna, always an honor to have you. Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan, our Commissioner of the Department of Education, is in the house. Joanne Anthony from our Secretary of Agriculture, and to all the other representatives here today. I'm incredibly honored to be here. And as I said, this is now the second time within 2 years that we've come to this school to confront the crisis of food insecurity in our state schools. Back in the fall of 2022, I believe, we signed legislation into law that expanded access to free and nutritious school breakfasts and lunches for literally thousands of New Jersey school children. And today, and again, I have to give the Speaker a huge shout out on this. This is a passion of his, of all of ours, but especially of his. Today, we're building on that progress with legislation that will help prevent even more children from going through the school day on an empty stomach. And I should say that Senate Majority Leader Senator Teresa Ruiz wanted to be here today. Her daughter's school got canceled literally as she was about to get on the truck to come down here, and I want to give her a shout out in absentia. So in addition to ensuring our children are fed and nourished, this legislation will also, and I mean that literally, give our kids the support they need to fully focus on their studies and ultimately excel in their lives. And of course, it will make life in New Jersey a little more affordable for working and middle-class families throughout our state. Here in New Jersey, as you all well know, we are home to the best public education system in the entire United States. But that is a reputation that we have to maintain. We can't take any of that for granted. And we maintain that by, among other things, investing in every aspect of our public education system, from the classroom all the way to the lunchroom, and that is exactly what we're doing today. Minnesota's been a great leader, as Craig knows, and Mark and others will know, in this whole fight. And my successor as chair of the Democratic Governors Association is their governor, former Congressman Tim Walz, and he is a pretty special guy. And I love his quotes. Quote, while some states are banning books from their schools, we are working to banish hunger from ours, which I thought that was a really nice statement. So with the legislation we'll sign in a few minutes, we will make sure that our young students receive all the calories and nutrients they need to learn, to play, and to grow. What does this do? It does really two things. One is it raises the eligibility of the income level that a family earns to qualify for this program. And secondly, we're bringing this program, again, thanks to the Speaker, not just to public schools, now to non-publics as well. And again, in partnership with the Speaker and all of our legislative partners, we are also taking steps to make our entire education system more accessible and more affordable for more families. So at the front end, I mentioned this last week during my State of the State address, that we've helped more than 14,000 of our state's kids enroll in affordable pre-K programs, affordable as in free programs, and our hope is to continue to expand that. And then at the back end of education, in last year's budget, we also provided tuition assistance to more than 30,000 of our young neighbors at the college level, whether it's with the Community College Opportunity Grant or the Garden State Guarantee. These investments at the higher ed level are making higher ed more affordable, and in turn making it easier for New Jerseyans to launch their careers, to find family supporting jobs. So again, with the Speaker and his colleagues, Shama and others in the Assembly, and the Majority Leader and Senate President Scutari, I want to give him a shout out. On the Senate side, we're doing everything we can to set our children up for lifelong success, from pre-K, elementary, middle, high school, college, and even beyond, with historic investments that we have made collectively together in expanding workforce development to prepare our young adults for the jobs of tomorrow. So we're not stopping at college either. So I could go on. I won't. Again, thank you for so graciously hosting us once again, everybody here. Before I have the honor of signing these measures into law, let me hand things off to a dear friend and one of the greatest champions in the fight against food insecurity in our state's history, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor. That's incredibly kind. Let's have a big round of applause for the Governor. You couldn't ask for a better partner, somebody who works with, who gets it, who understands, and who makes the state better. If you talk about Governor Murphy and you talk about the thing, he came into office, 22 things on the list. I think one of them needs to get finished now. That's an incredible record of accomplishment. Governor, thank you. Thanks for being here. We're glad we can make you feel at home. This is the home of the governors, after all. And that's okay. I'm sure we'll be happy to do that. I think I sat right like over there when I graduated from high school back in 1976. And one little piece of trivia, I was in a work study program when I went to school here. I actually helped paint this gym back in 1970s. I don't know, 5 or 6 or something. But I want to especially thank the governor for coming all the way up here in this weather. It would have been easier, simpler for him to go into his office, sign the bill, make the same impact in terms of hungry people, hungry students, but he didn't. He came here because he was committed to doing that and wanted everybody to understand how important it is. I want to thank Congressman Pallone, who's headed back to Washington, but came here to be with us today. I want to thank everybody. The governor thanked the commissioner and the food advocate and the mayor. Let me thank a couple more people. 2 of our council people here, Mickey Gross and Anthony Conrad, are both here, and members of the Board of Education right here in South Amboy. Thank you all for coming out. It is truly a pleasure, and it always is, to come back. Now, when I was here, this was the high school gym. Imagine that. And we had a good basketball team, so you had to get here for the JV game. This is the truth. You had to get here for the JV game in order to get a seat for the varsity game. But you know, this community, people say, where are you at? Well, I live in Woodbridge, but I'm from South Amboy, and that's how I remember it. And it's a proud place to be from. And as the governor pointed out, this is the second time he's been here to convene and talk about things that we're doing, legislation providing healthy food, free meals for students. So thank you again, Governor, for your partnership. Tremendous leader and a great friend in this regard. Let me thank first former Senate President Steve Sweeney, who was a partner in that, and current President Senator Scutari for their great leadership. Thank you for that. I do want to also thank Senator Ruiz. She is a true champion for helping children and for helping people in need, and so she couldn't be here today. In addition to her daughter being off, she was going to help care for her mom, which is so typical of Senator Ruiz and my colleague in the Assembly, and a new chairwoman of the Food Security Committee, Shama Hader. Shama, congratulations on that, and thank you. Now, what we do in New Jersey is so much in contrast with some of these other states. I read about this last week. 15 states in this country, in this great country, are refusing federal aid to help feed children. Think about that for a second. Who the hell says no to free food, free money to help kids, right? And they view the minimum wage the same way. Now, I don't want to wish ill on anybody, but I hope they can't sleep. I hope they can't find a good night's sleep until they figure out what they ought to be doing to help the people of their state. That's not true here in New Jersey, and the contrast is stark. Here we're not turning away any resources. In fact, if those states don't want it, send it here. We'll put it to really good use. And we're building a better future for every family. Today is a really good day for kids who are hungry and for parents who are trying to make a budget work. It really is. And it's no secret that the fight against food insecurity has been one of the closest things to my heart. And we have changed that conversation here in New Jersey. There's no longer an issue whether people want to sweep that under the rug, say we can do that, the private sector is taking care of it, the nonprofits and all those things. New Jersey, as a state, is committed to it. And the beautiful part is we can end hunger. and we should, and we will. We should end that in our state. It's not it is within our grasp. One of the leading things that we can point to is say, I was fortunate enough to be invited to the White House about a year and a half ago, and when you're invited to the White House, you always manage to work that into a conversation, even however long ago it has been. But I was there for a conference on food insecurity, and what other states aspire to achieve, we look at in the rearview mirror. There are things we've already done. We are moving on. We're on to the next horizon. One of those things is to appoint Mark Dingleson, as the governor introduced, our food and security advocate, the first and only in the nation. Mark, thank you for what you do, for bringing us all together. But, the commitment to making sure that kids get fed every day, it goes beyond, I believe, our public office duties. I think it's closer to a moral obligation. And we have seen remarkable advances thanks to setting our priorities straight here in New Jersey, and with the valuable hard work of so many people. And I'm so grateful for the experience and the dedication of people. As I talked about before, nonprofits, houses of worship, advocates, philanthropists, and state government partners all have come together in the state of New Jersey. Mostly I want to thank those frontline workers. And you all know them because they're all your neighbors and your friends. They're the volunteers, the people who help feed people at food pantries, the people who work in schools to make sure that kids get fed. And I'm repeatedly in awe of their compassion and the dedication to making sure that these things get done, their tenacity, their belief that we have to and we should lift up our neighbors. They're putting in their time and their work in a way that we couldn't possibly compensate them for or ever would try, nor would they ever accept it. We've been able to provide more resources and support from the government thanks to partners like the governor and the Senate president and all of my colleagues in the legislature, because I can tell you this is a bipartisan issue. We've had immense support across the aisle in doing these things. We've raised the SNAP benefits for seniors, families, veterans, to the highest level of any state in the nation. There was a cliff that was coming last March. The amount of money that you can get from the federal government is a pittance. They had raised it up during a pandemic, but that was about to end. We had already raised ours to a minimum of $50 an hour, but it was going to go to, it was at $95 because of the federal support, which was going away. Most states just let it go. New Jersey did not. We immediately moved ours to $95 as a minimum. Now, even that is a real challenge. Imagine anybody here trying to find as $95 a month as a minimum, or a week, right? Week. Right? That was a month. Month, yeah. Imagine that. Anybody want to try and take that test? We'll send you to one of those states that's turning away money. All together, we've increased our aid to food banks in the course of the time that Governor Murphy has been the governor and I've had the privilege of being the speaker, over 400%. We've established, as I said, the Office of Food Security Advocate, which is the first and only in the country. And that's led to tremendous collaboration and coordination in that fight for hunger. Both the immediate triage of emergency food needs and a longer-term plan for a program to address the root causes of food insecurity. Every month or so, I meet with a group of leaders from the major food assistance organizations regularly, and their shared vision and incredible commitments to bring their vision to fruition will lead us all. And all of that has been made clear to me that we can win this battle. We don't have a lack of talent. We don't have a lack of support. We don't have a lack of work ethic, nor do we have a lack of food. We don't have a food scarcity shortage. We have a getting the food to hungry people challenge, and that we can overcome. The course we're on now will right that wrong and change the lives of so many thousands of New Jerseyans, especially to our young people. Today, the bill that the governor will sign, coupled with the other bills, will add food security to about 50,000 students in the state of New Jersey. Now, during the pandemic, we struggled to solve many of those problems and to get the necessary tools to essential workers as quickly as possible. One of the issues that we had to address was how to get meals to kids who had lost access to nutritious filling meals. Remember, kids weren't home. One of the great challenges and one of the next horizons for us is to make sure we address the long weekends and summertime when kids aren't in school. For far too many kids, that is often their only healthy meal. And so to among the frontline workers I mentioned a minute ago are delivery folks, cafeteria workers, custodial staff, all who pitched in during that pandemic time. People who work so hard to make sure that students in our schools, and they make an indelible, play an indelible role on those kids' lives. We're blessed to have talented, dedicated workforce like that who offer a smile and a nutritious meal and do so. I'm sure that some of those folks will never forget that feeling. And now we get to bring help to more kids, as I said. Study after study shows, and we all know it, everybody performs better when they have a good, nutritious breakfast. And parents get to fulfill their best selves. They get that chance to really succeed when they don't have to worry about the fact that they don't have anything to send their kids to school with. So today is a really big deal. I mean, it is a big deal on a human level because it makes such a difference. It helps break the cycle of poverty. It helps make a difference in so many people's lives. We don't need a study to tell us that. I think we all know that that's the right thing to do. Imagine that. Imagine if your first job every morning as a parent was to figure out how you're going to feed your kid that day. Not because you forgot to go to the grocery store or because it snowed, but because there's nothing there and you don't know where it's coming from. This changes people's lives. The increase in aid to historic levels over the past few years is important because we know that educating our state's children and to continue to be the best public education state in the country, say that again, the best public education system in the country is right here in New Jersey. It's something we invest in heavily. We ought to be really proud of it and something we ought to continue to move along, and that's what we're doing today with the governor's great support. I think that's our job. I think that's what we ought to do. I think we are a great state, and I think if you're a great state, you have to do a few things. One of them is feed your people. One of them is to make sure that they have a place to live, have medical care, and have an opportunity. And that whole opportunity is based on public education. It is a great equalizer. It makes guys like Craig Coughlin, who went to public school, able to be the Speaker of the state of New Jersey. And so the next little Craig Coughlin here or in some town in the state of New Jersey, hopefully it'll be taller than me, but they're going to have the opportunity to do it because of our public education system. So this is investment in our future. And this is a step along the way. So, Governor, save some ink in that pen because we're going to get to the point where we have universal breakfast and lunch for every student in the state of New Jersey. Now, that's expensive and on some level wasteful, but when you change the way people look at this thing, when you eliminate any potential stigma from the person who really needs it, because everybody in the school gets it, and they can donate it back or figure out a way to repurpose that food, then we've really truly made a difference. Huge step today. Doesn't happen without the governor's leadership. Doesn't happen without all of your support. Doesn't happen because we don't care. It happens because we're committed, because we have our priorities straight, and because we want to make a difference in so many people's lives. We do that today. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Who says you can't come home? It's great to be here.
Mr. Bon Jovi is here in spirit. Craig, thank you so much. This wouldn't happen today without you, and I could say that about a lot of days, but I can certainly say it about this one. So to you and your team, deep, deep thanks. A couple of things. I should have thanked and welcomed Board of Ed and council members. I hit Fred, but I didn't hit any of your colleagues, so thank you all for hosting us so graciously in town. We love this town. Secondly, two comments, both of which stagger me. We're going to hear from our incredible congressman next, but Mark Dingleson is the only food advocate, I believe, in any state in America, right? At the state level. Yeah, it seems, yeah, but so on the one hand, we rightfully should pat ourselves on the back that we actually got that done. But on the other hand, you sort of ask yourself, to your point about the other 15 states, what's everyone else thinking? And then that $95 you referred to, we're still the only state in the entire United States that is at $95. Again, that's something to be proud of, but it's $95 a month, which that also staggers me. It's just so difficult to fathom sometimes how these other states operate. And sadly, like never before, it's a patchwork quilt country. It matters enormously where you choose to live, raise your family, have your job, you name it, across a whole range of interests, and this is just one of them. In any event, Craig, thank you. I better start talking fast because Natalie Hamilton is going to drive this bill to Trenton, and please be careful on the roads. I cannot say enough good things. I'll be brief because of the time, but my congressman, our congressman, Frank Pallone, is in a category of one. First of all, we've known each other for going on 25 years. One of the first people we met, I'm a Monmouth County guy, and Frank and his wife Sarah reached out to us very early on and welcomed us. I thought that's pretty cool. And he's been a dear friend ever since. Whether he's been in the majority or the minority, in other words, as chair or as the leading member of the ranking member, I guess, of the opposition party, he's been extraordinary. And this community is a great passion of his. This topic that we gather today, food security, is a point of passion for him across the whole range of interests. I can't say enough good things about. Please help me welcome Congressman Frank Pallone.
Thank you, Governor. I'm going to try to be brief, too. I really have three things to say. One is I think you could hear from his remarks that Speaker Coughlin really feels strongly about the food insecurity issue and obviously has done and continues to do a lot of things about it. You almost brought me to tears today. I have to be honest with you because I know how serious the problem is, but I also know how much he's looked into it and is aware of how difficult and complex this is. But the second thing I wanted to say, and this is about both the governor and the speaker, is that this state is always out front on any issue that deals, I would say, with working families. Because I want to stress, a lot of, on the Republican side, I'm, sound a little partisan here today. They always talk about work, that there should be work requirements, want people to have free stuff. But what they forget is that most of the people that are getting, that have food security problems are working families. These are people that are working. And I'm an advocate for, as Craig said, of that there should be universal free meals for both breakfast and lunch. Because I remember, Craig, you were talking about, the old days, and I'm older than you. I remember in Long Branch High School going to the cafeteria, and at that point, it was a very limited program. You had to be very low income to be eligible. And there were kids who did not take the free lunch because they didn't want the stigma that they needed it. And they would go without eating because they didn't want people to know that they were eligible. And so that's one of the reasons why everyone should get it. But the third thing I wanted to say today is I think that the reason that these two invite me to these events like they did last year is because they're doing the good things and I represent the Congress, which is the bad guy. I mean, just briefly, just a little history here, and then we'll have the signing. During COVID, as the speaker mentioned, we expanded a lot of these programs, right? But then as soon as COVID was over, I think it was at the end of the 2022 fiscal year, all that, or most of that money went away. And Democrats tried very hard in the last budget, which, ended this October, we were talking a little bit about the budget before, to not have that cliff be so steep, right? And so we did manage in last year's appropriations, opposed spending bills, to restore a lot of the money for breakfast and lunch, but not what it was before. And we had to fight tooth and nail again, because you have to have 60 votes in the Senate, and you always need the Republicans, right? But we did manage to get most of it. But we're fighting the same battle today. You asked me before. We're going back today. We have this continuing resolution which will keep funding at the same levels until March. But then, they want to cut all these things, the WIC program, the SNAP program, the free, the breakfast and lunch. They want to cut it all. And it's just a constant battle. But the thing that we're so fortunate is we have our leaders here in the state of New Jersey that go beyond that. So you understand, and they're spending state dollars here. This is not federal dollars. The federal dollars are gone. They're spending, they're putting this money in their own budget to expand the program. And the thing that Craig mentioned with the bad Republican governors, the 13 of them, right? 15. All right, 15. There's a special place in hell for them. Did I tell you that? All right. If you're not going to want to feed kids. That was a summer program that we put in place, and New Jersey applied for it and got for it, but those 15 governors didn't even apply for it, which is so sad. So again, this is an example the bill he's going to sign, where Craig and the governor are really going beyond because they feel so strongly this is something that needs to be done. And there's another example of where our state, under their leadership, is always out front, particularly in helping those who need. So thank you again.
You know, I don't know where we would be, and I say this literally, without Frank fighting for us in Washington to get funds to get New Jersey in the proper place. I'd say two quick things before we hear from Mark. Number one, this is not cheap. And it is not unique, but almost unique in that the bills that we're going to deliver by noon, very few of them have an appropriation associated with them. So we and Craig knows this better than anybody, we try to get all of those as best we can into the budget discussion. There are very few outliers that are not in that category, and this is the single biggest outlier because of how urgent we think this is. Angelica and others advised us that this is going to begin, I guess, in the school year 2024-25, which is September. There's no way you could get these meals delivered to kids in September if you're signing a budget on June 30th. So we said, you know what, we're going to go out of step here and get this done in the so-called lame duck, but there are very, very few of these. Secondly, I was sitting listening to both Craig and Frank. This has a very near-term, immediate impact for that little kid and their family. But the impact on the state, our economy, our revenues, and all that is long-term. Because that kid, he or she will get the meal that they richly deserve. They'll be more able to compete and do well in school. They're more likely to go to college. They're more likely to get a job that supports a family. Ultimately, they will be a bigger contributor to society and to the economy, a more forceful contributor. So this is a bet we're making, and we're all 1,000% in. We're going to put a significant amount of money up today, change that kid's life today, and change the state's trajectory and that little guy or gal's trajectory, say 20 years from now. That's money, in my humble opinion, that's well worth spending. Last but not least, I mentioned him a few minutes ago, my wife Tammy, who sends her best, and I met Mark when he was, by the way, big press today in both the Asbury Park Press and the Ledger, that homelessness actually has taken a tick in the right direction. And by the way, if you want to see a really successful approach right now, look at what Ras Baraka is doing in Newark. It's really impressive. But pressure on food banks has gone the other direction. You guys each mentioned this. There's enormous, unfortunately, there's a lot of customers right now in our food banks. And Mark, as I mentioned, is the only food security advocate in any state in America. We met him many moons ago when he was running one of these food banks, one of the most successful ones in the state. It's our honor to have him with us today, Mark Dingleson. Mark, come on down.
I think he's very tall. I have to adjust this. My job's to get us to the bill signing. I will say that I'm a fairly new dad. My beautiful baby girl is 2.5 years old. Months. Yeah, still fun. Yeah. But I gotta tell you, getting her ready for today means today is even more personal for me. So I want to start off by thanking everybody from the Board of Ed, our council members, Mr. Mayor, Congressman. Thank you for allowing us to come here today. And I want to follow with what the speaker said. I want to say thank you to all of the frontline workers. Right now, there's an assistant principal somewhere out there that's got a makeshift food pantry in their office because they know that there are a bunch of kids that need their help. There's a teacher right now who's getting ready for their kids to come in, and they've got a drawer full of food because they know that there are kids that need their help. There are nonprofit leaders that are wondering today, how do they keep their teams energized, and how do they keep their teams going when the need is increasing exponentially at their organization. So to all of those folks, thank you. We see you. We appreciate you. I can't think of a better way to supercharge New Jersey's food security work than with a day like today. I want to thank Governor Murphy for his continued leadership and support of the ongoing food security efforts in this state. Governor, you are truly setting New Jersey apart as a leader in the nation in food and nutrition security. And I mean this. When he and the First Lady came to my organization, you should have seen the way he would talk to my team and the way he would talk to their children and how he made them all feel really seen. You know, it sticks with me that's the impact you had on that team. I'm truly grateful to be serving under you. I want to thank Speaker Coughlin for continuing to be a champion of food security in this state. Speaker, you continue to lead from the front and remind us that this continuous call to action is both right and necessary. And to Senator Ruiz, who couldn't be with us here today, to Assemblywoman Hader, to all of our partners in the legislature, thank you so much. Thank you so much for working so hard to make days like today possible. Today's bill demonstrates that New Jersey is willing and able to not just use, but expand and improve one of our most powerful tools for striking at the heart of hunger and poverty: school meals. We've been saying it over and over. New Jersey is a leader in this country, and I stand in awe of New Jersey because of our leaders, because of what you guys are allowing us to do. Schools are major hubs for community building and public health efforts because this is where our families come every day. This is where our children learn and grow. This is where our future is strengthened. Our expansion of school meals today is a testament to these facts. And you guys have heard it today. What New Jersey has done and what our leaders have done is create this office so that we can continue to push forward. So today, days like today are not just a one-off. Under our leaders that are here today, food security work is a growing comprehensive effort in our state. There are organizations and individuals coming together across the state to form partnerships and coalitions that are striving to work together and hold each other accountable. We are all using every tool in our tool chest, from research and evaluation to trauma-informed programming to collective impact models, to truly combat hunger and poverty at its root cause. From Salem to Sussex counties, I spent a lot of time on the road, going up and down, meeting with folks. And I got to tell you, some of them are here today. I'm continuously inspired by how people are really trying to push. And Governor Murphy, Speaker Coughlin, through this office and through all the policies you're creating, you're making it possible for us to truly collaborate and to build coalitions and to really push forward, to really dream big, crazy dreams for how we can attack food insecurity, hunger, and poverty. And we have to dream big, crazy dreams. Because as Nick Tilson said, our goals have to at least be as big as the problems we're facing. New Jersey, we're doing it. And our leaders that are here today are paving the way for that. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take everybody that's a council member. It's going to take everybody that's on a board of ed. It's going to take every teacher and nonprofit leader. It's going to take every hunger advocate that's out there. We all have to do it together. Governor Murphy and Speaker Coughlin have gotten us here. It's time for us to take it all the way home. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mark, not just for your great comments, but for your work day in and day out. With that, as I mentioned, we're on the clock. As they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. Come up and join me here to sign this bill. Thank you. Money shot here, even though I can't see it. Foot in front of me. Assembly Bill number 5684, sponsored in the Assembly by the Speaker of the General Assembly, great leader on this and so many others, Craig Coughlin, Shanique Spate, my cousin Carol Murphy, Shalma Hader, Coach Benji Wimberly, and in the Senate by the Majority Leader, as I mentioned earlier, Senator Teresa Ruiz and Senator Shirley Turner. The synopsis requires certain non-public schools to provide meals to all students under Working Class Families Anti-Hunger Act, and authorizes limited expansion of income eligibility to qualify public and non-public school students for free lunch. I think, Craig, the levels are going from about 62,000 to just over 69,000. That's right. So that's a big jump, and this is one of these, the community college opportunity grants. We started at certain income levels. If Craig and I and our colleagues can find the money over the ensuing years, we'll hopefully, among other things, try to continue to raise those ceilings so that we have more kids who are eligible. So with that, let's get going. Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin. Congratulations. Will you help me with the in absentia, Darren? Yep. Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz, please. Assemblywoman, also not here, Shanique Spate. Shanique. The weather really took its toll on the attendance here this morning. Assemblywoman Shalma Hader. Assemblyman Coach Benji Wimberly. 15? 50? 60? 60. Oh, that's right, 60. My Congressman, the one, the only, Frank Pallone. A lot of pens here. The great mayor of South Amboy, Fred Henry. Fred? We just heard from him, our food security advocate, Mark Dingleson. Mark? Adele is not here, right? Correct. Okay, I'm going to give her Adele LaTourette, Senior Director of Policy and Advocacy at the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Lisa's here because I met her earlier. I saw her earlier. Lisa, you're over here. Lisa Pitts, who is the Director of Hunger Free New Jersey. Boy, I gotta be careful here. I don't have much more to write. The Commissioner of the Department of Education, Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan.
Thank you.
And I realize now, I referred to Joe as a member of Carmelo Anthony's family. I apologize. I don't know why I said that. Acting Secretary of the New Jersey Department of Agriculture, Joe Atchison. Joe, congratulations. So this is now, I'm happy to say, the law of the land. Paramount Lisa Cyrus, you realize, right?
Yes.
Okay. You going to take it here?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Just a quick picture. Here we go. Congratulations, everyone. Good job.